Conscious coupling.
Wow, what a room. This is are we way over there, too?
Yeah.
What's happening, team?
That's a big room.
And they're all here just for you. You know what? I was watching a show the other night, and I didn't realize that they referenced the show Lost in it. It's a show, an animation called Rick and Morty. Have you heard of it? Have you guys heard of that show before?
Oh, Rick and Morty, yeah.
In season 7, there's an episode where Rick is sitting with his wife on the curb, and they are discussing the end of Lost. And they ask, well, how does it end in your multiverse? And she said, and he says, oh, it ends like this. And he goes, how does it end in yours? And she says, oh, well, it ends with, it's just one season. And that's it. And it ends they fight a fog monster, and that's it, it's over. And I just thought it was so funny because I never actually noticed that until I went back and was doing research for you guys. And I was like, wait a minute. There's also another episode, I swear, I think it's an interdimensional cable episode, and they introduce a character on the show, and they go, Dominic Monaghan! And the way they say it, every time I read your name, that's how I say it inside my head.
I had to say to someone at this convention, I was like, hey, it's not Dominic Monaghan. It's Dominic Monaghan. Still get it right. But Lost featured relatively heavily in the film This Is 40.
Oh,
The Judd Apatow thing. The young girl in it is desperately trying to watch Lost, and she's kind of having anxiety about it. You never realise how big these things are.
Yeah, it was in a number of shows.
Yeah, can you believe that it's still referenced so much?
Crazy.
I mean, it's amazing. You guys really have made such a huge impact, not on just, I mean, on everybody.
Yeah.
What was When you two first met each other, what's the kind of impact or impression that you guys made upon each other?
I'd never met anyone like Josh before, you know. I'd spent some time in the States, but I'd only recently moved to the States. And then I met, like, the Marlboro Man. Do you know what I mean? Just a slice of Americana.
Right.
The accent and the kind of suaviness. And I think a lot of the guys in Lost would look at Josh and be like, man, that's a cool part to play. He's like he's the Han Solo of the show. He's like the scoundrel that gets in fights and gets the girls and stuff. So, yeah, he's an exciting person to watch work, you know.
No, dude, I bet Don was like, oh, he's the famous dude. He's the biggest guy on this show, and he's an Englishman, and he likes soccer. So I remember we were kicking the ball out in front of that hotel complex a couple times, and then Don got me into FIFA soccer a little bit on the video game, which I suck. And he was nice enough to act like I was winning sometimes. But, yeah, that's how we met.
Yeah.
Like that.
And it's an ensemble cast, of course, so when you're in that situation, it's pretty intense because you're all meeting at the same time, and all of those energies are coming together, so the group dynamic is pretty intense, you know, and then you're making the pilot of Lost, which is an incredibly intense experience, with someone like JJ, who again is pretty intense, so, you know, 6 weeks of just like, oh, wow.
It was. I thought I was going to be fired daily. And I remember JJ's first thing, he's like, what you doing is good. I'm like, that's not what you want to hear. Not in that tone. But then he said, it sounds like you're trying to hide this accent. Be from wherever you're from. I was like, oh my God. So he set me free, but it was intense. I was afraid.
It's scary.
He told me, he's like, you're Southern, but don't make everything such a mouthful. I was like, oh, he hates me. I made it.
I had on Star Wars, which again is a pretty intense situation to be in. On the first day on Star Wars, JJ came over to me and he went, you can't do your voice that deep. I went, this is my voice, you know my voice. He went, right. You still can't do it that deep. What do I do? He went, just raise it up. So then in Star Wars, I'm kind of talking like this, you know? That's all that. I have a really deep voice.
What's something that you two learned from each other over the years?
Well, I think watching Josh on set, my favourite thing about watching Josh on set is how much he goes for it. You know, on days when he was fighting, which was a lot, it was the closest joke big fights with Matthew Fox, fights with Naveen, fights with all these different characters. Josh just went for it. Josh was just like, I'm probably going to get hurt, I'm definitely going to get sweaty, I'm going to get knocked about, but this is the way that I approach those things. Charlie was very fragile and moved every time people hit him, but he's right in the middle of it. So, watching Josh do that, I think, from a physical point of view, you were always really capable, but you got the shit kicked out of you.
Oh, and mostly by girls. I was counting, I was like, I've been hit by every woman on this island. And deservingly so, granted, but I was like, yeah, I got beat up a lot there. From Dom, I learned to be cool and that I was okay. I was going to be okay. I was watching the pro work, and I was like, okay, I'm on set with these guys, and I'm not fired yet. So, and I learned a lot of how to be in public. I didn't know how to be in public. A celebrity at all, and Dom had been through that. So I watched you kind of be cool and how to handle fans and that kind of thing. So,
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
The veteran. The rookie and the veteran.
Well, you two seem to have a good relationship now, but Charlie and Sawyer are really at odds a lot throughout the series. What do you think was the biggest insult or rivalry or argument?
They weren't like big enemies, but I don't think their chemistry, they weren't necessarily like pally friends. I mean, we did have the golfing game thing, right? You were on that.
I was on the golfing game. We did a pretty good day.
I think just like Charlie was quite self-involved in terms of what he wanted to do on the island, which is basically like, is there drugs? Can I find drugs? How do I get drugs? Right. And the sidebar kind of situation with Claire. And I just think the things that he was trying to achieve was quite different from Josh. I actually think Charlie was quite threatened by these alphas. Matthew's part and certainly Josh's part are quite alpha-y. And Charlie's not an alpha, he's a beta, he's the artist, he's just kind of sidestepping all that. So they're just quite different. But I don't think they hated each other, they just didn't know each other very well.
And I mean, I stole everything else, but I figured I'll leave the heroin to this guy.
Do you think that if Charlie survived, that Sawyer and him would have evolved their relationship and become better friends?
Maybe.
Probably.
For them to have gone through that thing together, it's a hugely bonding experience in the same way that Hawaii was bonding for all the cast. You're doing crazy hours, you're working on a show that blows up. You have that common ground, So whenever I bump into lost people, Josh and I were just saying backstage, we're excited to hear that Jorge Garcia is going to be at one, and Terry O'Quinn and Emily DeRabin. So it is a bonding experience, and I think from a fictional point of view, yeah, if you met on the streets off the island, you'd be like, man, we went through a war together and we survived,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Lost obviously is super complicated, right? There's so many dang mysteries that are going on throughout the show. Is there one a fan theory that people always come up to you guys at the table or bring up to you every time you come to a convention that they're still hung up on?
Yeah, it's the same one I'm still hung up on. I keep thinking it's purgatory, and so come back to that. It was purgatory, and then they kind of sidestepped it. I kind of feel that way, but then David and Carlton would kill me. I need to actually call them up and say, explain it to me. One more time.
Dom, do you think that doing Charlie's, obviously going through this addiction, were those emotionally hard episodes for you to film?
Yeah, it is. It obviously is. I mean, we all had tough challenges on that show, but yeah, I mean, Charlie's dealing with himself, his enemy is himself, his challenge is himself, and obviously, as we know, with addicts, it's only ever a couple of seconds away, that slip. You can have a great day, and then something triggers it, and you grab that bottle, or you grab those pills or whatever, and it's over, So I think the war going on in his brain was something that he very rarely was able to escape from. I think with the baby, he was able to do it, and with Claire, he was able to do it. And I actually think as he came towards the end of the show, and he had that interaction with Desmond, where Desmond kind of said, you're gonna die, and Charlie had to eventually accept his fate. I think he kind of finds that peace at the end to just be like, I'm just gonna give over to the universe. I'm not gonna keep fighting this thing. It's bigger than me. And and if it's going to be like that, it's going to be like that. So I hope that at the end of it, he does find a little bit of peace, because he's in torture for most of the time.
Yeah. Well, I also have to give in right now and release you.
Oh, I gotta go.
From this
Yeah, I'm
panel,
sorry, guys.
because you're just so busy with Lord of the Rings, which is absolutely amazing. And I honestly, we all, I'm sure, are so proud of everything that you have done.
Oh, that's very sweet. But you get left in the very capable hands of Josh.
Oh, God.
Yes.
See you guys. Sorry to run. Bye.
See what I mean? Famous guys. They got
Just hightail it
probably
right
taking
out
a
of here.
chocolate over there. Watch.
That's okay. When I was running from a different theater up here, and I go, no, honestly, I love sitting with Josh. I go, I think we could be best friends. He's just the coolest guy.
You could.
I was like, he's so
We'd definitely
chill.
be drinking a spicy margarita somewhere with you.
Okay, I'm done after this. Let's go.
Watching folks.
Yeah. Ooh, I love to observe others.
Too.
Ah.
I've been doing that on 16th Street here the other day.
Yeah?
It was great.
It's a good place to sit and watch people.
It is.
It is.
Watching's fun.
Well, I know that we have 2 mics here. If you guys would like to ask some questions, you can line up. I just ask 1 question per person so we can get through as many as possible. I see we already have people jumping at the chance. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Sammy. I know you kind of got asked this question yesterday about your old co-star Harold and his show From. I was just curious your take on, do you think that the characters of Lost could survive in the town of From rather than on the island?
Oh, that's a good question. By the way, From is scary as heck. I mean, I just started on season 1. I called Harold. I'm like, why can't I sleep now? I don't know. I think Terry would survive. He would become friends with him somehow. I don't know if Sawyer would survive. He would get so sick of it, he might just invite him in. Challenge him somehow, get it over with. But yeah, that's a trippy show and has some Lost elements to it. So check that out, you guys. If you
Thank you so much.
You want
Love your
to not
person.
sleeping.
Oh, thank you.
We'll go to this side. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Shiana. First of all, thank you for coming to Denver. We're glad that you're here. My question for you is, like, us as fans, we get starstruck meeting you guys. Like, they're even telling us before taking photos with you to remember to breathe. Is there anybody that you have been excited to meet or to work with?
Oh, God, yes.
Or got like starstruck?
Many times, actually. I mean, I did Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise, so that was like, dang, it's Tom Cruise, You're going out to dinner, you're like, I'm at dinner with Tom Cruise. But it also means, okay, he does all his own stunts, so they're dropping me 65 feet backwards from a crane like 12 times. Fantastic. That was great. And I got the experience of going to SWAT school with Arnold. That was amazing. So 10 minutes after I meet Arnold, I'm blowing off a shotgun, walking side by side. I'm like, I'm with the Terminator. Blowing off shotguns with the Terminator. This is so cool. And then I hung out with Harrison Ford and Gary Oldman and Richard Dreyfuss. We all went to dinner at some movie, and Amber Heard was there during the Johnny Depp situation. So that was kind of cool. So yeah, I've been on a few with some of the legends that I love. And I got to do a scene with Kevin Costner on Yellowstone, so I mean, I'm a huge fan of his. So those are days you like, breathe. Know what you're doing. You've done this.
The little boy inside you, though, is probably screaming.
It is. It's nerve-wracking. I mean,
Your idols.
idols. Thank you.
People you've seen on screen
Exactly.
before, grew up
with.
watching. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Tara.
Hi, Tara.
Thank you for being here. I was just curious if you had an episode or a particular storyline that stands out as one of your favorites to have been involved in.
Yeah, I loved all that. I loved the raft stuff a lot because, well, I love those guys, and and we got to really sail that raft. This was pre-drone, so for helicopter shots they had to get away from you far, and we were out there sailing that thing to freaking Molokai. Please don't sink. That was cool, and the tiger pit stuff was actually kind of fun, except the camera assistant went out the night before when we first started and threw up in that tiger pit. We had to deal with that. Smell.
It doesn't just go away.
So, that was memorable. Yes.
Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Phoebe. I was wondering what your favorite character from the show is besides from yourself, and what choices make you like them so much?
I really loved Terry O'Quinn's character because it had such a dramatic arc. I feel like, to go from this guy in a wheelchair who was really a nice man, you think, to becoming, the evil smoke monster guy is quite an arc. And the fact he was in a wheelchair and that whole journey, I thought it was great.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, I'm Emma.
Hi.
I started watching Yellowstone because I knew you were going to be on the show, and I wore my cowboy boots for you.
Nice.
So my question is, how do you think Sawyer would fit into the Yellowstone universe?
I think he'd fit in rather well. He'd be just perfect in the bunkhouse, kicking around.
You think they sent him to the train station?
They probably would. He might survive a little bit, but he would eventually get on their nerves and he'd get ripped. I mean, he did. After all, I couldn't help but flirt with Beth. Ended up getting a rattlesnake in the face. That's what happens.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Kendra.
Hi,
We were
Kendra.
gonna get a picture with you and Tom, and we ended up missing it.
Oh no!
And I made these bracelets for you guys, and I'm just wondering if I could give it to you.
Yes!
Bring the bracelets out.
And meet me back over at the thing and we'll do the picture, yes? Okay? Thank
Because
you.
Josh is going right back to his booth right after this. So if you do want to come talk to him,
Come
he
over
will
there.
go right over there. He won't have much time at his booth, but run after this panel and head over there, okay?
That is so nice. I appreciate it.
And you're so beautiful. How cute. Hello.
Hello, I was wondering how much you do or do not relate to the character Sawyer. Like, oh, I would do this or I would never do that.
I relate a lot to him. He's basically the flip side of me, because I was raised Southern and you kind of sugarcoat things and you don't really say what you feel per se. And Sawyer's exactly the opposite. I really enjoy going to work, and I was like, I get to like air it out. It was therapeutic being Sawyer. Of course, he got his ass beat all the time for it, but there's a balance.
Thank you.
For all of us, there's a balance, All of us have a little bad in us, hopefully more good than bad, but I think we all battle with that at times.
We do.
Hello, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Andy. So obviously Lost is a show with a lot of crazy lore, and all of us fans were desperately trying to solve it while it was coming out. And I was wondering, did the cast feel that way as well? Were you guys trying to put these mystery together, or were you just kind of like, this is just a job, whatever, I don't care that much?
No, we all were trying to put it together, really, because back then it was on film as well, so there was a lot of time in between when you had to flip a set to film one side and then you flip to the other side. You'd have to change the whole lighting and move all this stuff. So those were all the times we'd have these discussions about what the hell's going on. My theory was it was like the Death Star. I was like, the island's like the Death Star, and I think all these stations are hooked together in a machine that moves the island. That was my theory, but I was wrong.
Thank you. Was there a point that you guys did stop trying to figure it out and you go, oh, whatever it
Yes.
is?
Then we would discuss like top 5 candy bars, top 5 cereals. Arguments all day about stupid.
Nonsense. Yeah. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Donna. We spoke a little bit earlier about things you have coming up in the future, and I saw one of them was called Flint.
Yes.
And it looks like you actually get to do horseback riding.
Yes.
And I'm wondering when that's coming out.
Me too. Yes, Flint was a passion project. It's a Lewis L'Amour book, and I've read them growing up my whole life. And so I reached out to his son, because Lewis L'Amour's dead, and his son's in charge of Legacy. So 20 years ago, I reached out to him when I was still filming Lost. And finally, we put it together somehow and just filmed it. But it's a true indie. I don't know where it's gonna land, but it's badass. And I got to ride, the first day of work, I got to ride a horse full blast with all the gear, with the duster blowing. And I was like, whoa, if you've never done that, get on a horse and stay on the horse. Because I mean, they can move. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Something for us to look forward to then.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Are you an avid reader?
Yes.
You are. What's the last book you read?
I was reading one from a fan.
Oh, okay. I like
I
that.
can't remember the name of it. His name was Lord. He went to Ireland or Scotland and bought a tiny piece of land so he could get the title.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lord Boro Inkgonk or something. Place. I don't know what it is, but it's this cool book, kind of like The Old Guard with Charlize Theron. Did you see that recently?
Oh, yeah.
Like they're immortal and you go through time and you were knights back in the thing.
Oh,
So that's what I'm
interesting.
reading right now.
Yeah.
Fan's book, which is
Cool. Love
and I
that.
like series, so I read my favorite series probably the Lonesome Dove series. All of Dune, I read all of Dune. All of Clan, remember Clan of the Cave Bear and all those kinds of anything that's a series, I like to read those kinds of things. And then Pulitzer Prize winners, I just pick, if I see that sticker on it, it's always a good book.
Yeah.
So,
Cool. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Matt. I was just curious, on the topic of all the fights you were in, was there anybody that you wish you had just gotten to punch or get punched by?
That's a great question.
oh, wow. No, I think I pretty much fought everybody. I got punched by everybody. Yeah, all the girls could just line up and hit me. I deserve that. But
Thank you.
I did tear Michelle Rodriguez, I tore my meniscus on her punch because my boot stuck into the mud. So she goes, and I turned on my knee did. Oh, that was a tough one. It's like, thanks, Michelle.
Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name's Josh.
Oh, hi.
I love your character on Yellowstone. He's my favorite villain. And what I wanted to ask is, if your character from Lost and your character from Yellowstone met, how do you think they would interact?
Not very much. They would look at each other and be like, oh, fuck you. They probably wouldn't even say, they just look at each other and go, oh, you're that guy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back over here on our left.
Hello, Josh.
Question. Hi. Hey.
You, hi.
Hey.
Hey, I'm Isaac. Up until season 5, when Sawyer falls in love with Juliet, were you a jader or a skater?
jader or a skater?
So, the love triangle between Kate, Jack, and Sawyer. Were you more of a Jack and Kate love, or Sawyer and Kate?
Sawyer and Kate? I mean, come on. Because she was so, and you're on an island, man. Not a lot of groceries.
Good answer, thank you.
Thank you. Hello, how are you?
Hi, thanks for coming to Colorado. Been a fan.
My
You
pleasure.
just lost, so thrilled to death. Quick question. If you could revisit any character from the past that you played, which would it be and what would you do to take it further?
Oh, wow. Well, you guys wouldn't know this character. His name was Feb with a PH. He was a sex philosopher in this movie called Dr. Benny, and I don't know if anyone could ever find it, but it was our second movie I'd ever done, and he was like shirtless with just like shiny Adidas pants on, and like a long goatee and a portrait of himself behind us on a nice angle. And he was very philosophical about the energy of sex and women and all this stuff. So he would teach a class to all these nerds that couldn't get sex. But he used these words like, "You're such a soozer," like a super loser. So I love that guy, and I would love to play. I'd like to revisit Feb in a bigger movie or maybe a series.
I would love to see this as well.
It was great.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Summer. I'm so happy you're here. I was just wondering, what was the most difficult, scene or aspect of Sawyer as a character that, what was hardest to connect to?
Wow, that's an interesting. It was hardest to connect and accept that his con was conning women. I didn't like that personally. It made me not like him. So I used it. I used it as part of his self-loathing of who he was, because I really didn't like that. So it worked. There you go.
Thank you. That's a really good
Good
answer.
question. That's a
Thank
good
you.
question.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Chris. Good to see you again. So one of the best characters on Lost was the Michael Giacchino soundtrack.
Yes.
Throughout, that really added a lot of emotional depth to scenes. So when you were filming it, did you get to see any of that with some of the soundtrack, or did you get to go back and see anything with the soundtrack? And if so, how did that resonate with you, and did you feel like that added a lot to it?
Yes, it was fantastic. First of all, that was fantastic. A live orchestra, live score was not being done very much anymore, so that was special in itself. And I got to go and watch them do it once, and that is amazing to watch this entire orchestra looking at the screen and Michael a little bit. And they're just like, whoa, and doing stuff, and they're making it up kind of right there. And it's phenomenal. It brings tears to your eyes when you're doing it and you're watching. Because when you just see yourself up there, you're just like, okay, and you put some violin behind that, you're like, oh shit, suddenly I'm doing something. It really helps. The music is definitely one of the main characters, and a good one. Thanks.
Thank you. We've got 5 minutes, just so you know, Josh. So speed round, we could get through these
Okay.
last 5 people.
Okay,
I
I'll
believe
be
in
faster
you.
answers. Here we go.
I believe in you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Carter. Have you read any of the books that Sawyer read on the show? And if so, do you have a favorite?
I should have read some. I did not.
You will now.
I will now, because Water Shut Down, I just watched that cool animated little film on it. Have you guys seen that? Water Shut Down years ago when I was a kid, and I watched it again, so I didn't read that. What else was he reading? I forgot what he read.
Yeah.
Of Mice and Men. Oh, no, I haven't read Of Mice and Men. Watch them.
It'll be your next read.
I will start reading them for these panels.
Next expo I come to, I'm going to ask you if you read it.
I've read it.
I'm holding you accountable.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Kristen. Thank you for being here. Question about any memorabilia, either from Lost or another show or movie that might have somehow made it into your personal collection.
Yes. I like to keep some things, and Sawyer, I kept the boots because they were my boots when I got on the show. And so they had been around the world before Lost. And then I wore them in every scene except when I didn't have shoes on. So I kept them, and not long ago I had some work around the house to do, and I was like, I just throw those on. And I put those suckers on, I was like, how did I wear these? They were like so broken. The soles and everything were just, so my feet must have been tortured back then. I didn't realize.
Thank you. Back over here to our left.
So, my name is Ben. Going on with the music that we talked about earlier, if you yourself were on a deserted island, what would be the 3 albums that you would want to have with you?
Oh, wow. Probably one of the first Zeppelins, Dark Side of the Moon, Floyd, gotta have some Jimi Hendrix. I'd have to have one of those. I can't remember which one I loved most. Maybe those 3 are my top.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, I'm Travis. A little bit of a left turn. You cameoed on one of my favorite shows of all time for an episode as the Black Rider in Community.
Yes, I did.
What was it like? You're used to playing serious, dramatic characters, going to a satirical, unserious show.
Oh, it was so much fun. I just laughed my ass off the whole day, and I felt completely not untalented because they're so fast, comedians, and funny and witty all day long, and I was just kind of like, wow, I'm just that guy. I just tried to keep up with them, all day, and Chevy was he was super nice to me, and I didn't know that everyone was not liking Chevy until later when they told me so. But funny enough, I just ran into Donald Glover at a friend's house.
Oh, you just run into him at a friend's house. That's Donald Glover, it's fine.
It was actually Donna Langley's house. She runs Universal. She's a friend of ours, and we were over there, and I haven't seen him since that filming. Wow. And since he's become huge and wrote Atlanta and became Childish Gambino and all that other amazing stuff. So people just, they do stuff. That was a fun night. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're the last one. The pressure is on now.
No pressure. Hi, I'm Lizzie. First, I just want to say that Lost was like my first love TV show. Was defined my college years. So thanks so much for being a part of that. Sawyer was one of my favorite characters.
Cool.
My question is about, obviously one of the things that really defined Lost was the flashbacks. And I'm curious if you have a Sawyer flashback that really stands out to you or that was especially challenging to film.
Yeah, well, they all were intense. When you had your flashback, I mean, that was an intense week of filming, so I remember all of those. Yeah, one where I was in the prison was pretty wild, because that was a real prison, and we went to the prison and they cleared out a block, C block or something, and put it in the cafeteria. but I had to keep walking by the cafeteria. And they were like, had the windows open, they were going, Sawyer. Sawyer. I was like, oh shit. I mean, that gave me chills every time because the way they whisper it, they were like, Sawyer. I was like, oh my God, somebody's gonna shank me. So I remember that.
Oh my God, that's great. Thank you so much. And thank you all for being here today. Thank you.